Professor IIM Bangalore. He authored few best-selling books which are a part of standard curriculum of varied courses like MBA, MCA, BE, BTech, MSc, MCom, BSc, BCom, BCA, etc. in varied universities across the country. He writes a column on business quiz for universities across the country. He writes a column on business quiz for monthly newsletter, the Management Review of Hyderabad Management Association, a premier association of management professionals since 1964. He is a recipient of many prestigious awards: MTC Global Outstanding Management Teacher Award 2019 by Management Teachers Consortium, AIMS IC5 Best Teacher Award by Association of Indian Management Schools, Academy of Global Business Advancements, coveted American Honor 2019, Best Professor in Marketing by ICBM, SBE, and Academy of Management, Icon Dronacharya of the Year 2018 by International Knowledge and Opportunities Network, Distinguished Alumni by Badruka Group of Institutions, etc., to name a few. Dr. Chetan, a teacher by choice, trainer, researcher, and consultant, specializes in strategic marketing, CRM, services marketing, advertising, and branding apart from HRD and systems related issues. He is a member of many academic advisory boards, BOS, subject expert panels, etc. Widely traveled across, he has vast experience over 2 decades in academics and industry in varied capacities in training, research, and consulting. He has, to his credit, about 40 plus papers and articles published in leading national and international journals. Dr. Chetan is one of the much sought after speaker to be a keynote speaker, theme speaker, session chair, chief guest, guest of honor, invited speaker, panelist, key resource person, judge, etc. for international and national conferences, seminars, induction programs, annual day functions, award ceremonies, MDPs, FDPs, etc. by many universities, institutions, organizations across the nation and abroad, and also varied TV channels for television talks, live debates on contemporary issues, etc. I am privileged to welcome you to the session, sir. Over to
Thank
you, sir.
you. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Manu, for the, wonderful introduction of mine. I think, you raised the expectations of all of them. I hope that I should be able to do to their thing. Yeah, before we really begin, I would request you all to open up your cameras so that, I should know that you are all in the session. Are you all there? Yes, good to see Mr. Varun. Good to see Monica, madam. Good to see Kalyani. Who else? Who else? Open up. Charanjit Singh, Aruna Priya, Ila Mehrotra, Rajendra Gaur. Yeah, Priyanka, Priya, madam. Because what happens is when you have, most of us seeing each other, we would be able to really know Mr. Rashid, Naresh Babu, yeah, Gampal Prabhakar. Yeah, so try to do that. Keep your screens open because that's the way where we actually interact. Other day was, just 2 days back, I finished my 15 days refresher program, which I was coordinating at University of Hyderabad, and we had 150 participants across the country, and we had 45 sessions and 45 speakers and 50 sessions to go on, and all of them throughout the program kept their cameras on because sometimes some issues are the network and kind of thing to go in, so that would be there. So the links and all would be sent. You please focus on the session. So when you're trying to talk about the kind of thing to go, and if you keep your screens open, that goes in. Generally, what happens here is we all see that faculty log into the session and just keep and do their work and carry on, and then finally get an attendance to go in. So that's not about it to go. So I wish you all keep your sessions open, screens open, and do it. That way you'll really enjoy the session, and you'll also get the best out of it to go in. So let me just play my presentation to start with. I think, you'll all, are you able to see the kind of screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, when Dr. Ravi approached me for this program, I said, yes, I'm there. That's it. And although I had real hectic schedules and all, and it was so difficult for me because, I'm still to complete all the formalities of the kind of certificates and all for the FDP to go, which I did recently. But, whenever there's something from, MG University, Mahatma Gandhi University, I usually don't say no because that was a university which I am associated with the foundation kind of thing to go in. And next, the Dr. Ravi is a wonderful, person who is like a brother to me, so I can never say no to him. And all my friends here, Dr. Miriala and Dr. Venkat and everybody else here, so usually that's the kind of thing we have in shared relationship. So that kind of thing made me take it. And when you talked about leadership, I thought, yes, I should do something on that kind of thing. But that's something which is really thing which is creating issues to go. And am I audible? Is it the speed okay? Any things to go in before I proceed ahead?
Perfectly fine, sir.
I'm fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
Yes, sir.
right.
Okay, sir. Okay, okay.
So yeah, good, good, good. So, before I really begin, let me thank all the COVID warriors because that's something still we had to come out of the COVID kind of thing to go in. So, all of them who have been doing a wonderful job, which actually makes it easy for us today. We are able to do this only because of them. We are alive because of them. Thank you, all the COVID warriors, doctors, the medical staff, the sanitation workers, the housekeepers, the teachers. We have been a wonderful kind of, warriors also. You'll be surprised, teachers are also COVID warriors, so we'll have that kind of thing to go. And so thank you all, and let us move ahead and see where am I going to go. And so a disclaimer for my session, whatever I'm speaking here, it's basically a part of my talking is absolutely academic. It does not mean to hurt anyone, any sentiment, any feeling, religion, caste, community, region. I apologize if at all I'm hurting anybody because I really don't mean to do it. It's not, it's either unintentional, unintentional, or merely coincidental. So I thank all the original owners of copyrighted material, cited, uncited. I do not claim them. I have used them purely for academic purpose, to go in. So that's the thing to go. Now, to start with, that's the leader, the one who has actually doing, we get the inspiration from the name Mahatma Gandhi. The university itself talks. So I thought I'd start with that particular person's kind of thing to go in my leadership session to go. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So when you're trying to talk about this to go in, when you're trying to lose in the service of others, it's basically Mahatma Gandhi who said that, and he's a wonderful leader. You have seen that particular thing. One person who basically, got into the kind of thing which is there. Are you able to see the screen? 1 second.
Yes, sir. We are able to see the screen.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Screen is visible. We
Yes.
see.
Are you able to see the screen? Yeah. So when
Yes.
Mahatma Gandhi, yeah, when Mahatma Gandhi ji basically wanted to have this kind of thing. So we had the kind of thing which actually moved on to go in and. Madam, if you can control this admits and all, I think I should be able to focus. So when we are trying to talk about this to go, and so we are looking into the kind of thing which works. He says, and Swami Vivekananda, one particular person, who had actually been the most wonderful leader across. He basically said, the more we come and do good to others, the more our hearts will be purified and God will be in them. So where you can find God unless we cannot see Him in our own hearts and living beings. So that's a wonderful leader who had done with it. The whole world was basically, shaken by his thoughts and things to go, and he traveled across the world, and we still at the very young age he could make a big mark as a leader to go. And so when you're trying to talk about doing this kind of thing to move, it works. And now let me talk something about one person. I'm not talking about anything religious. So let us look into that to go. And one person who has been the greatest leader of all the times with a wonderful personality. You agree or you don't agree, but if you look into that, he's the one who led the entire team of Pandavas, the war to go in the nations to go across. He killed so many asuras. Then he moved on to the battlefield. That's where he also motivated the people to go and if you look into that, his role was basically very minimal as a thing to go, and he worked in the background. He make it sure that everything goes well as per things to go. And so, a greatest leader of all the times, the great personality to go. And so, we usually, I always say that we fall in love when a leader called Sri Krishna, that's the one who actually would do the part to go. And you look at that, he as a charioteer did the kind of wonderful thing for Arjuna, led him to into the battle. You can see how he saved the people of the one with his Govardhan power to go, and where he lifted that power to save them from the Indra's fury to go, and then giving the Gita Upanishad. All of them happened, and if you see that all of them had happened in battlefield, all of them have happened in the area where it goes, and so he was basically trying to do his best to see that and everything goes well. He tried his best to avoid the war. He tried to see that, and finally, when the war was inevitable, he was the one who worked on to it to go. So when we are trying to talk about Sri Krishna as a leader, we have a lot to learn from his as a leadership qualities, leadership traits, so on and so forth to move on. So let us look into the way of leadership. I still wish nobody is switching on their camera. Jay Prakash, I think you should switch on your camera. Many of you should do, and because until we see, if you don't switch on your cameras, I'll switch off my camera also. So when you are trying to do that, we basically, one or two may have an issue, but not others. So when you talk about the leadership to go on, so what is the leadership? When you are looking into the leadership to go and to influence a group towards achievement of good to see you, Jay Prakash, after a long time. So, no, not all the leaders are managers, not all the managers are leaders. That's one thing which actually goes, and a good leader displays the ability, creativity, and confidence. He gets the cooperation, willingness, build, and employee morals, so on and so forth. We talk so many things to go in, but when you are beginning to go in, he is the one who makes ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. He did the same thing. He let the entire nation do, extraordinary battle of freedom. You look at the Vivekananda did that particular thing to go. So many leadership stories are there. When you talk about them, we are trying to motivate ordinary people to do extraordinary things. It's all about leadership, nothing else to go on. But why should we be led by anyone leaders? That's a big question. We always believe in doing it. Why should somebody lead you? Do we need leaders? So we'll ask some of you. All right, we'll start with Mr. Prabhakar seems traveling, so we'll not disturb him. So anybody else, Charanjit Singh or Varun sir, can you say why should we lead anyone lead us? Any thoughts? You can unmute yourself and speak.
Because it is the potential of the leaders who get work done by the subordinates.
Okay, good. Anyone has any other option to say? No, that's a big question, because why should we have somebody to lead us, or if we lead anybody to go? And so when you are trying to talk about this to go, and please remember this: true leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. That's what is a big question to go on. Leaders, because I need to do as a teacher, as we are a leader, you look up as you may think leader is a politician, film hero, or the spiritual leaders. And no, we are the leaders. We are true leaders. You look up as teachers are true leaders because we ignite the students, we make them become leaders. So we should actually do that, lead them by the to go. And that's the reason why we talk about leadership, to go in and move and go across. The challenge of leadership is to be strong. That's very important, but not to be rude. A leader has to be very strong, and but not be rude. Be kind. A leader has to have that empathy, sympathy, and all to go on, but they should not be weak to go on. But be bold, to not bully. So you should be strong enough, but you should not bully anybody to go on. Or be thoughtful, but not lazy. That's very important. Be humble, but not timid. You have to be humble and not timid to go on. Then be proud, but not be arrogant. That's what it talks about. Proud of your team, proud of your organization. But if you are arrogant, if you have that arrogance coming in, then that doesn't go. And have humor, but not folly. Without folly, that goes. And so you always be humorous. We always be. That's the challenge of a leadership to go. And leader become great not because of their power, but because their ability to empower others. But that's what is missing today. When you talk about to go and most of the leaders are focusing on power, empowering themselves, not on the people to go in. Because look at that kind of thing. If you are there as a leader, you should empower others, your followers to go in, so that they can actually become leaders to work on. So that's the basic idea when you are trying to talk about having the leader to go in. Uh, that's what happens. We should have somebody to stop that flood, somebody to stop a flood of thoughts, somebody to stop the destruction, somebody to go in. So somebody should be a leader to see that everything goes in place. That's the basic idea. When you talk about India getting independence, we all worked. We had a leader who took care of all that thing to go. And when you talk about anything else today, we talk about economy being led. You talk about India being led. When you talk about everything to go, and we do have that kind of thing to go. When we need to have an a leader with us to go and work and move. And so when you are trying to talk about the leadership to go, we have to have the kind of things to move on. Um, what you can do what I cannot, and I can do what you cannot. That's the basic thing to go. And together we can do great things. Mother Teresa beautifully said that. When you talk about to go, and that's the reason why we should all be together. And somebody has to bring everybody together. That's what happens when you together we create miracles. Together we do something to go. And we need to have the kind of thing which actually goes. And so because what I can do, you cannot do. What you can do, I cannot do. So together we work in. It actually goes in and go. That's where you have to have it. And you don't have to have a position to be a leader. That is very, very vital. Somebody always feel that I know that I'm not in a position, I'm not a minister, I'm not a MLA, I'm not an MP, I'm not a vice chancellor, I'm not a head of the department, I'm not a thing to go and but do we need to have that position to be a leader? Absolutely no. You can be a thought leader, you can be an inspiring leader, you can be something to go. You don't have to have a position to do a leadership role to go. And somebody said beautifully that I'm sure that pharaohs were a great guy, even the one who built the pyramids and all. But I have my own leadership style. So every one of us, each one of us have our own style of leadership, and our leadership should be such that we are going to lead people towards supremacy, people towards empowerment, people towards achievement, people towards things to go. So you need to have a leadership which actually goes and we remember we don't have to have a position to go in and go across. That's what happens. Confusing, dangerous times call for confusing, dangerous leadership. That's a beautiful statement. When you're trying to talk about this to go, and when we are looking, when you are going to have peaceful times, we need absolutely peace as a leadership to go on. But when you have confusing, the dangerous times, like for example, we are going through this confusing, dangerous times of COVID, we need to have a leader who can actually be very, very confusing and dangerous leadership. Because that's where you wanted to lead. We had our prime minister leading our country into almost we are going through COVID-free zones to go. And when you are trying to talk about that to move, and so we are like looking at the kind of thing which actually goes and times for call for confusing danger of leadership. That's one thing which actually goes. And so when you are looking in based on the situation, that kind of leadership is important. We can't say one leader is good, one leader is bad. Basically it's all about the situations, it's all about the thing to go in, and we have to go into what style of leadership is vital. So we'll look into that and move and to go. I always believe in this. If your action inspire others to dream more, learn more, and do more, and become more, you are a leader. You don't have to do anything. You absolutely don't have to do anything. You just need to have your actions to inspire people, dream more, to learn more, do more, and become more. You are a leader. So that's what to do. And we, each of one of us, should be able to do this. As a role as a teacher, role as a colleague, role as a parent, role as a friend, role as an anybody to go. And you create that kind of thing. You are encouraging people, you're inspiring people to do it, and moves across. Hope. You are all basically finding the session which is actually there. Hope are you all involved in the session? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So basically, what happens here is, that's the reason I want your cameras on. I need to know what goes on. So when you're trying to talk about leadership, is all about making others better. Please remember, today's leaders make themselves better. That's the basic thing to go in. You wonder and how it goes in and so across. Leadership is all about making others better as the result of your presence. That's very vital. You are to work for others. You are to make others' life better, not yourself. That goes in. We had, recently we had the birthday of father of nation and also the prime another great son of Indian soil, Lal Bahadur Shastri ji. Both of them have done their best to make lives of others better. When you look into that, Shastri ji or Gandhi ji, we all know their contributions, and they don't have anything for themselves. They lived in absolute penury kind of thing to go. They actually, Shastri ji basically had nothing to go in absolutely. So that kind of thing which actually goes, and they only work for the betterment of our nation, betterment of people that do go. And so better leader makes your presence. Then make sure that that impact lasts even in your absence. You may be there, you may not be there, but your difference, what you made, should always be there. That's the basic thing which actually goes, and we are trying to talk about having the kind of leadership which is making your presence felt, and that particular presence felt should always be there, even you're there or you're not there. That's the basic thing which actually goes and moves into move. So what can we do about this leadership cause? So, when you talk about it, doing, I don't know, what do you think? So, is there anyone could ask for? So, when you're looking to do in something on leadership, there's always a question, is leader born or leaders are made? We have remember doing those debates. I don't know how many of you remember. We had those debates: is leaders born or leaders made, and so on. So, but when you talk about the kind of thing to go in, today we have schools of leadership, we have colleges of leadership to go, and we have an absolute, simple courses on leadership, which means that we can actually, create leaders out of nowhere to go in, but they should have the basic inherent abilities. That's something important, but we should have those leaders to move on. But good leadership isn't about advancing yourself. When you're trying to talk about a good leadership to go in, it is not about advancing yourself, it is about advancing your team. It is about advancing your team and making it go better and move in. So that's what we are going to talk about, the kind of thing which actually works and moves into go. So look at that, you work for your team, not for yourself. That's what it goes on. Leadership, very beautifully there, defined by Rao, who said to lead people, walk besides them. Now today we talk about politicians having padayatras, so we're not talking about that kind of padayatras to go in. So walk beside them. As for the best leaders, the people do not notice their existence. The next best people praise and honor, the next people fear, the next people hate. When the leaders, best leader work is done, end of the day, the people will say, it is we who did ourselves. So that's the leader should do, and he should actually encourage people to do something for their own, and he basically should move on to the oblivion to go on, because that's where you want the people to come up and do, and that actually goes. That's the leadership to go. Leadership is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. I mean, how many of us do? And today's leaders are confused. They themselves don't know what are we going to do. They themselves don't work on to it to go, and they go one way. They want others to go another way to go. And we talk about something which actually talks about, for example, the leaders who somebody sometimes may say, do not drink alcohol, do not do this kind of thing, and they themselves do that. Can't help it out. So that's a big problem. So when you talk about to go, a leader who knows the way, goes the way, shows the way. So people follow you actually as a leader. That goes. And so leadership is an ability to get an extraordinary achievement, as we started with that, to go in from ordinary people. So we are capable to do it. Look at that. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa could do it to Vivekananda. What did he do? He made him extraordinary. It doesn't mean that he's not there. Oh, look at the, Chanakya, who made, Chandragupta Maurya, absolutely extraordinary kind of thing to go. And so that's the leadership which actually goes in and goes across. Leader is the one who sees more than others see. That's what we are talking about. Who sees farther than others see. No, today we may not able to do it. For example, people have their, I'm not talking about an individual, but when you're trying to talk about it, people say, what is that leader doing? And because we are failing to see what he's seeing beyond. He sees farther than others see, and who sees before others see. That's the leadership to go. And so you you should be a visionary. You should be a one who thinks beyond time, who works on to it to go. And so when you're trying to talk about this kind of thing to go, and you are going to really have the kind of leader who can actually foresee things to go in. That's where the entire leadership happens and go in. Now, average leaders raise the bar on themselves, so they improve their bar and say, okay, chalo, we are going to do it. Good leaders raise the bar. Please, bar here is not the place where you sit and booze. We are trying to talk about a bar, which is basically, benchmark. So raise the bar for this. The great leaders are the inspire others to raise their own bar. So you are trying to be inspiring everybody around you, those who are there with you. You make them really raise their bars or raise their benchmarks and improve themselves. So instead of you improving yourself, also you improve. See that you inspire others by improving their bars to go. That's what is a big question we have been talking. Leaders aren't born, they are made, and they are made just like anything else through hard work and the price we all have to pay to achieve the goal or any goal. So when you're trying to talk about the goal, and we can actually make leaders, and they have to really work on to it and move. And so when you are trying to talk about that to go, it goes. And you would have learned, I mean, I didn't want to focus on the styles of leadership and so on and so forth, because anyway you find them in books and things to go. And I wanted to have you think in a different perspective, think on a different way of your thing to go. So we're trying to talk about, so we talk about styles of leadership, which say autocratic leader, transactional leader, democratic leader, transformational leader, laissez-faire leader. When you're trying to talk about these kind of leadership styles, we can see in anybody to go in, and then you move across. So look at that. I have decided to give lead by example. We all teach that particular thing, lead by example. So when you're trying to talk about it, to go and lead by example, I try on Mondays and Wednesdays. So you talk about a leader who says, I usually decided to lead by example on Mondays and Wednesdays. But keep in mind, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I will be still the fearsome and intimidation. So when you talk about to go, and leaders today are also into that kind of thing to go, and we fear leaders, we fear the kind of thing to go, and that's not the way we are going to do. And we have to look into the leadership, which is basically fearless, and we are trying to talk about leading by examples. That actually goes. And but somebody said, when I am trying to lead by example, it used to be too much work, because you need to work. I still remember there was a story about Gandhi. Somebody who said, I don't remember exactly, should be Mahatma Gandhi only. So one lady comes to him and says, Gandhi Papuji, you should, my child eats lot of jaggery, lot of sugar and all, it's not good for his health. You should tell him to stop eating it. So he says, come after 3 days. I'll tell your child. This lady says, yeah, what is this? It's taking 3 days to go in and say this. He said, no. When she came after third day, he said, and then he tells the child, don't eat jaggery. And she's surprised, Papuji, why did you do that? And then he says, no, I used to have it. So till I stop, till I have a control on myself, how can I do that? So that's the lead by example. That's the lead by example, and do and go across and walk in. There are 4 ingredients in a true leadership. When you talk about this to go, and 4 ingredients in a true leadership, one, it is, we are trying to talk about the kind of thing to go, it talks about the brains to think, soul to feel, heart to connect, and good nerves to be strong. So when you're trying to talk about the kind of thing to go, and so the World Economic Forum former chairman said that it's written there for 4 ingredients: leadership: brain, soul, heart, and good nerve. So that is what it actually talks about the leadership to go. And leadership is not about titles. I still remember I've been telling you all that. Leadership is not about titles, not about seniority, it's not about a good status, it's not about management. Leadership is the power and ability to know when, how to use it to influence the people around you to do and become more. So you are trying to do that particular thing to go. And transformational leadership is about using your actions to elevate others, transform them, and put them into their path to greatness. So you're trying to do that particular thing. You want to make people great. It's not that you are great, you should make others great. That's the basic thing which actually goes and works across. I'm sure that you're going to think about the leadership in this way to go. And so when you're trying to talk about leadership, it's all about persuading, and motivating. But you're trying to talk about creating enthusiasm to make things happen. So, are we able to motivate people or create that enthusiasm to let the things happen? Clarifying the problem and making a logical decision. So, do you basically first of all understand the problem, clarify what is the problem clarity, and then make logical decisions to solve the problem to go? Listening, supporting, and giving constructive criticism is vital. When you talk about giving the constructive criticism, that goes and work across delegating tasks to people with right skill set. Now when you're trying to talk about having that kind of thing which actually goes and would work in planning, organizing, setting objectives, presenting a positive personal image, being assertive and taking initiative, responsible, leading to responding to changing situations very flexibly. How do you do and how do you talk? Accepting responsibility for mistakes and wrong decisions. That's something which actually goes on to go when you're trying to talk about the kind of thing which actually goes and do we accept our responsibility for mistakes and wrong decisions? That's very very vital. Many a time it is said that Dr. Kalam used to say that in ISRO when he was at DRDO and all. He is one leader who is an inspiration to me. So this particular gentleman said, when there is a team failure, the team head takes up the blame. He says, I am the one to be blamed, not my people. They have worked hard. They have done it. It is my wrong decision which left to their feeling it to go. And even we have seen that kind of thing, which actually had the kind of thing to go and where mission to this one was a failure recently, moon mission to go on. So when you're trying to talk about that to go, the head of ISRO was literally into tears. He said, "No, I am supposed to be blamed, not anybody else." So the leader is who takes the blame, but gives the credit to his team members. That's how I tell things actually goes. And so accepting responsibility for mistakes and wrong decisions is one thing which is very very vital and most important trait of a leader. So preserving when things are not working out. So that's very important. Many times things may fail, irrespective if you do anything. Like for example, look at COVID. Irrespective of whatever you have taken across the world, all the leaders failed. Most of them failed, and they couldn't save people. They couldn't do anything to go and. But fortunately, we're part of India. At least we had some respect. Irrespective, though we had so much of trouble, though so many lives were lost, so many things to go on. But today we can say that we have fared better than other parts of the world. So when you're trying to talk about that, to go and still things are not so good. I am sure about it, but I am sure that things would happen. Taking a positive attitude to and learning from the failures. That has to happen. How did we fail? Why did we fail? That kind of thing would actually move it and do across to work, and that goes. The best leaders don't know just one style of leadership. I always believe in this. There's no say do this, be this style, don't only democratic, only autocratic, only participative, only things to go and Mr. Himanshu, can I see you? Switch on your camera. So when you talk about that to go and you just don't have to one style of leadership. Skill at several and have flexibilities to switch between styles. That's very vital. One time it is needed, you need to be dictator. You have to be autocratic. There's nothing doing, you have to do like this. Then at time it is needed, you have to be democratic. At time you need to do and you need to be participative. At times you need to do, and so you need to have a mix of all based on the circumstances what they dictate. But if you say that no, I've been participative leader, at times you need to really can't do it across. So you have to have a point that you need to be having a combination of leadership style as the situation depends. You need to do, and if you don't do have that kind of leadership, you actually miss on to it to go. So when you're trying to talk about this to move, and yeah, you are trying to talk about moving and go across. So that kind of thing happens. So if you talk about which kind of leadership style, somebody says you go disaster fire, somebody says you go into this to go, and somebody says you get into the kind of leadership. But basically what happens is the style what you say in is a combination and as per the situation should do, and that's what I wanted to tell you here in this kind of thing to move. And so just to understand this is a humorous way to go, and a visionary, follow me. That's what is the thing. Oh wait, they're signing new things, so he has a vision for new things to go and certain things to happen. Operator, who talks about it to go, and where you say that our plan doesn't specify the break, so you need to look at how to make things operational. Compromiser, maybe we should take a vote to go in, because you need to do something on that to go in. Maybe a sergeant would say when you exam, you say you should jump high, how high kind of thing to go. And somebody who could be a cheerleader, somebody who could be a parrot who could actually talk to whatever people go and or would burn back them to think to go and or a coach. So it could be anything to go and what would actually happen. I like this cartoon, so I thought I'll surely show them to you all to move. We talked about the kind of leaderships. That's what our theory says. That's what our books talk about it. To go and course leader, authoritative leader, affiliative leader, democratic leader, coaching, and go and pace setting leadership. So when you're trying to look at that various styles of leadership to go and they all would be equal. Define them. You can get them in the definitions to move on. You have your emotional theories, leadership theories to talk about all this kind of facets to go. Leadership styles where we say commanding leader, do what I tell you, is one thing which actually goes in visionary, come with me, affirmative, people come first. That's the affiliative kind of leadership to go. And democratic, to what do you think? I take everybody's opinion to go and pace setting, do as I do now. So you do that kind of thing to go. Coaching, you try this, you stay that kind of then check about it to go on. So you talk about leadership styles who's gonna be there and do on. I hope you're all there in the session.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kalyani, madam, good. So when you talk about it to go on, now when you are looking into the kind of thing to go on, we talk about the styles which are there, authoritative and leadership or participative leadership, delegative leadership to go on. So authoritative leadership basically talks about direct control of activities without meaningful and participation by other members of the team. Or participative leaders encourage everybody to participate. Like we have our Dr. Ravi doing it, Aluwala Ravi, who is a very, very participative leader kind of thing to go. And he makes ever do and find never say over the decision making process to go and delegate or is as fair. Leaders give little or no guidance to the group members. You say you leave it, you do as you want. You have a freedom to move in and go across. That's what the same thing goes. And authoritarian leaders have a clear command and decision making is centralized, participative, where collaboration do and delegative when leaders aren't involved. The group has their own decision making freedom that actually goes. And so that could be one leadership to go. And now I want to ask you, what is your leadership style? How many of you feel you are leaders? Raise your hands or say. You can unmute and say, how many of you are leaders? Feel that you are leaders? Lakshmi madam said one. Who else? Only one leader here in this whole group of around 50, 60 people? Ela madam, Prabhakar, sir. Leader, you don't consider yourself as a leader, any one of you? Yes, think it means that you're not listening to the session. When you talk about to go and if you are, we are all leaders at home, leaders in friends, and you have a friend group of friends. If your friends listen to you, friends, look forward to your opinion, you are a leader, is it not? Absolutely. At your family, if somebody listens to you lead your family, it's a leadership to go. And you don't have to be a politician, you don't have to be a leader to go. And all of us do have that kind of leadership things to go in. Now, what is your style? That's the question. So any one of you can tell, what is your style of leadership before I begin to others to go in?
Sir, I follow.
Yeah,
I follow participative style of leadership.
Wonderful. So you take everybody's decision and follow that kind of thing. Any example of your one decision which was very participative and people are happy about it?
So a lot of things will a lot of things will take in our department. Actually, I belongs to Mahatma Gandhi University itself.
Okay.
So whenever we organize any program or any activity for the betterment of students, usually we our whole department will go together. So wherever, as you rightly said, that Ravi Alwala will give a lot of opportunity for us to take decisions on independently. So in this manner, I prefer participative style of leadership. Will influence more on the people rather than other style. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else want to share anything from there? Anuradha madam was saying something, I believe, or somebody was saying something. I could see some unmutes.
Sir, it depends upon the situation, sir. Basically, sometimes you need to be authoritative, and and if you have people who like at equals or so, then you can be participative. It depends. Suppose in family, if you are the elder, then you will definitely go for authoritative leadership style. But at office or in college, if you have your colleagues, then definitely participative will be more fruitful.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to tell you, that we need to have the kind of leadership which actually goes and which actually would be a part of us to go and work in, and you are going to talk about having the kind of leadership which would make it wonderful to go. Yeah. So all of us are leaders actually. That goes in and move across to let us see what goes on. A true leader has to have confidence to stand alone, courage to make tough decisions, and also compassion to listen to the needs of others. That's what is the leadership all about. You have to have that confidence that you can stand alone. I can do it. Then you should have the courage to take tough decisions. You are taking tough decisions is not easy. It could be tough, and you can't please everybody to go in every time. So you have to be tough on sometimes some to go in, and compassion to listen the needs of others. One side you are tough. Second type you have and compassion to listen to others to go, and that's vital, which actually goes in and work across. It is better to conquer yourself. You had the yoga in the morning, meditation in the morning. You had the same thing said, right? Better conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles. How many of you have learned yoga in the morning? One, two, three, many, right? So when you talk about that to go and when you're trying to say you have to conquer yourself, meditation, you need to conquer yourself, because there are a lot of battles, we don't have, you'll be surprised, I'll tell you, we have so many internal battles which are far more than external battles. How many of you agree to it?
Yes, sir.
Internal battles. Yes. Yes. Ila madam, do you agree? Yes. So the whole issue is all about conquering our internal battles. That's very vital, because until you win yourself, how can you win others? How you need to lead yourself. I'm telling you a different thought. Nobody has put across. You need to lead yourself. That's more important. You need to be a leader of yourself. You need to lead your thoughts. You need to lead your actions. You need to be leader for yourself, so that you are having a victory for yourself. Don't you think you should have your victory? That goes on. So it cannot be taken once you are there, not by angels, not by demons, not by heaven, not by anybody to go on. You need to have your own leadership. Lead yourself. That's what is an important thing. So lead yourself toward victory, lead yourself toward happiness, lead yourself to success, lead yourself to do it. So once you are leading yourself, automatically you can lead everybody else across to go on. So conquer yourself. That's what was talked in the morning when you said, meditate, when you said yoga. No, that would take you to, conquering yourself, conquering your thoughts, conquering your physics and things to go on. To be an effective team leader, you need patience, you need strength, you need insight, you need tenacity and courage. And if all of them doesn't work, you have to bribe them with donuts. Bribe in sense, not a negative word here. Give them something happy to have, and so that's what we do. And so if nothing works, that's what you do. When you have a problem at home, you really, as child will be creating a problem. You try to be patient, have strength, and all. When nothing works, you hit him, and all he starts crying. Then what do? You give him a chocolate. You give him a lollipop. So you are trying to talk about having that kind of thing to go on. That is a part of leadership which actually goes on. So leadership as that, when you talk about great leaders have one primary goal, that we all should know: bring out the best in others and bring out the potential in people. So if you are able to do that, you yourself are the wonderful leader to go and so create that kind of thing. Uh, so when you are trying to talk about thing to go on, are you able to have that goal? So when you are trying to talk about the kind of thing which actually goes and create that great leadership, primary goal, and bring the best in others too. Now I'll check off the final item on my report. Everybody at the meeting, agreed enthusiastically to all my ideas. That's what happens, boss usually when you say and you go to your VC, I'm sorry, when if you talk about to go and you go to your VC and VC says something and he says, okay, yeah, follow. How many of us really oppose him? Rarest, because you can't afford to have oppose a boss, oppose your leader, oppose your thing to go on. Can we do that? That goes in. So when you talk about to go on, so is that the leadership we are looking at? No, we need. I still remember one day I was in the beginning of my career in the University of Hyderabad. We had one vice chancellor. We had an interaction, open forum. Vice chancellor was sitting on the desk. I come from a state university, Usmania, right? So I have never seen that kind of thing to go in the beginning. And vice chancellors are there, and all faculty members are in the auditorium, and they were questioning vice chancellor, saying that, sir, you cannot do this. You are here for 5 years and you go off. It is our university, our blood, our thing. You cannot do this. My God, teachers, professors questioning the vice chancellor, and this particular gentleman was so nice enough to talk about that's the leadership. Can we do and can we do across that kind of thing to go on? And I think that's what a freedom I've seen, academic freedom and the kind of thing to go on. Oh, we had different kind of visas after that, that's a different story. But when you talk about that to go on, you look at that kind of thought where people said, yes, no, you are wrong. Do we have the audacity to say we don't do it? So that's what is the leadership, which is actually a problem which actually goes on and go across. Basically, we have two options. One, the leader says, do what I suggest because I am the boss. And I say so. We had that, we were taught, boss is always right. Rule number one, boss is always right. Rule number two, if not, go to rule number one. So again, the same story to go in. So when you're trying to talk about that, so do that. Or I launch an presentation, extremely dull, long, detailed presentation explaining my position. Then you decide, this is yes, it works for me, I'm okay, me too, ditto, same. Because we all say, children, what do you say we'll do? That's what it happens. So when you're looking into that kind of thing, is that the leadership which you're looking in? Or you can have multiple leadership styles. It talks about hanging loose. There will be some leaders who are very, very loose. Yeah, come on. Absolutely, I'm a one among you. Hanging loose kind of a leader, hanging tough as a leader, and just hanging there is one more thing which actually goes in. So when you're looking into that kind of thing which actually goes in, you have varied leadership styles which would be a part of it to go. Difference between boss and a leader. Now we always think boss says I'm your leader, but no, nothing like that. You always talk about to go and don't be worried about your attendance. Somehow I have seen that our teachers are worried about attendance. Like our students, don't be worried about attendance. You are here for learning something. Because I'll tell you one thing about this all FDPs to go. When you're looking at Atal, named as Atal was a person who was a wonderful leader. Even opposition actually had a great respect for that leader. One gentleman, you never have that kind of a personality in this world again. So when you're trying to talk about that kind of thing to go on, so he had that thing, and we are following a program of his, maybe whatever his abbreviation, it reminds me of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and I was very fortunate to meet him also in person a couple of occasions. So when you're trying to talk about that kind of thing, we are not bothered about petty issues. Don't bother about attendance. Don't bother about anything. You bother about learning. You bother about the way thought process goes in. Yeah, Dr. Prabhakar, you had something to say? You raise your hand. You can switch on, unmute and say. Something to say? No, should I proceed?
No, sir. Actually, earlier, last
No.
for the last question I raised, not now.
Okay, fine, no issues.
Sorry,
So
sorry.
boss takes an advantage where leader empowers. The leader nurtures. You can see that. That's what goes. And if you're weak and timid, bosses will take care. Now, they do it. But whereas the leader encourages you, leader waters you, leader nurtures you, that's the basic thing to go on. Boss frightens you. Leader demonstrates. Now, boss that says you do this, This is what it is. But leader says this is how you're going to do it. So that's the basic difference. So when we all of us would become bosses one day, bosses is not really a boss. Academical leadership would always be there, one step ahead. Or even in your home, if you're a leader, if you're an elder, if you're above anybody, don't be an authoritatively lead by example. That's what we talk about. It. Oh, great. The boss is one of his enigmatics. Guess what I'm thinking moods again? Boss things. Yes. I'm the most powerful man on the earth. That's what it goes and boss it is like that. When you're into it and everybody have to have that kind of thought to go in and work across leadership and management, that's what it is. You can see the dangers, you can see that it's just like let's go. So he is leading everybody to go and I think that my leadership style is to get people to fear staying in a place, to fear not changing. So people should actually fear that if you're staying in one place, it's a fear somebody. You should move, you should change. That kind of thing which actually goes and would be a part of your leadership to go and a good leader. Who is a good leader? Is a big thing. There are a lot of theories which say who are a good leader to go and so when you're trying to talk about it to move and so when you're looking at the kind of leadership who's there, leader who is basically a good leader will talk about having the kind of thing which is the kind of thing which works. So we are trying to talk about the kind of thing who has integrity, who's clear of goals, who is basically a good example, vision, clear communication, you know. What happened? Are you able to see my screen? Somebody
No,
remove
sir.
that screen?
No, sir. You have stopped, sir.
So, wait a bit, I'm putting it again. Are you able to see the screen? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, when you're trying to talk about the kind of thing to go on, so when you are looking at the leader who is a good leader to go, has that clear communication, expects the best, supports, encourages, recognizes, stimulating work, focus on team interests and needs, and inspires. So that's what is the basic thing about a leader to go on. Superior leaders are willing to admit a mistake and cut their losses. Be willing to admit that you have changed your mind. Don't persist when the original decision turns out to be a poor one. It's okay. Sometimes happens when your decision sometimes is wrong. Don't persist and do that decision and you can move on to the new one which actually goes and this is what happens most of the times. I did only 10 minutes preparation for this meeting. You can't expect me to understand whatever it is you're talking about. Because that's something which actually goes and as a reader, they're not prepared. That actually goes and when you look at some readers when they talk, you know that very clear they're not prepared for this particular talk what they're going to do. And now, most of the times, these are the issues. Do you remember where we have buried our hidden agenda? Now, all the readers do have an hidden agenda. No, we have meeting agendas given, but we don't know what is going to be the hidden agenda behind it. No, that's a big problem. So when you have that hidden agenda, there it creates a problem, there creates a thing to go in and work across. In matters of style, swim with the current. If you want to really do and swim with the current, and matters of principle, stand like a rock. Now that's a very important part of your leadership. You should actually be swimming with the current kind of thing to go and you're trying to talk about standing like a rock, which goes on. Leadership must be close enough to relate to others, but far enough add to motivate them. You should be close to relate and far to motivate. So people should get led by you. That kind of thing which actually goes and no, your management style is fine. It is a mismanaged style which worries me. Leaders, that's a big problem. If leader mismanages, entire country is at stake, entire organization is at stake. Somebody was asking me, why is that a CEO is paid so much of money, so much of thing? He doesn't do work. CEO seems to do no work. He does not sit in nothing, go in a business class, travel in a big Benz. You have secretaries to work for him and work for her and all. But she's the highest paid, highest respected, highest rewarded. Why should that happens? Because our mistake may cost a part but their mistake will cost entire organization, entire country. So their decisions are very prominent. They are very vital. They are very important. So that's the reason why they have that higher positions to go in. So as a woman, somebody said beautifully, my style defines my leadership. There's so many women here. They should appreciate this. It's a gentler, more compassionate approach. Women are supposed to be gentle and compassionate. That's the reason they make good leaders. Actually, I don't know how many of you are going to leave that to go in. And I consult, I listen, I compromise where it is the best interest of the citizens. That's what you're doing. Because you're really more about it to go and women are the best managers. We say men or women, and that's a big question. But here I believe they do their inherent style of it to go and I'm a believer in the carrot and stick approach. You would have heard about this motivation model, carrot and stick. But here my carrot is not to use the stick. Well, that's the one which actually goes in and works across a very beautiful kind of thing to go and which works about making it to go. As a manager, I'll be happy if I get to manage my best out of the staff. As a manager, I could be happy if you could just manage to tell us what to do. We'll do it ourselves. A manager or the thing leader feels that yeah, I should get the best out of everybody. Yeah, the people who are there they feel yeah, you don't have to tell all this. You just tell what you want us to do. We'll do it. Let the style be ours to go in and goes across. Then we talk about transactional leaders. We talk about transformational leaders. I'm not going to tell you the theories and theories of leadership because that's all available there. What could be who is a transactional leader, who is a transformational leader, so on and so forth. But these are the leaders who actually do an style of leadership, transactional style or transformational style, which actually goes on. Now I'll talk about good and bad leaders. Now that's something which is very, very vital. A good leader, you can see he's, very everybody is happy about him to go. And whereas bad leaders, you can see that example there. And all of us that have encountered in our life, good and bad leaders. Did we? Yes, we always. Great leaders, they know what they are doing. They know how to delegate. They are the ones who need how to delegate, and here are bad leaders, they basically wish for doing. So when you're trying to talk about the great leaders, they are basically trying to do and so and miscommunicate or mismanage would be the bad leaders who are going to do it. Great leaders, they put people in the best positions and hence make their perform better. That's what you're doing. Put them in good places and work in. Here, they bad managers. They exploit people to make themselves benefit, not the team at their cost. You're going to do in good leaders, great leaders, and bad leaders. The great leaders basically are grateful for their people to do, and whereas bad leaders, they think that everything, every member can be replaced easily and won't make any problem. So you say, nah, come on, if you're doing well, I'll replace you. Anybody can take your position and do it. Whereas good leaders, great leaders don't do and then move across. The great leaders can make, can see potential in people, whereas bad leaders find only faults. Now we have to come across these kind of people who are going to be there a part of our lives to move on. Great leaders, they basically inspire people to grow. Bad leaders, they don't care about people's growth. They are only concerned about their growth, our growth kind of thing to go on. Now, great leaders, bad leaders, which we're talking about, they're positive and always encourage. The negative leaders always do not put their members to go on. So they can see the potential, they find faults as we're talking about, they can, embrace or support in communication, they don't have transparency kind of thing to go and things to go. Now this is one thing I really learned it. One may not be able to pull someone up. Leader is supposed to do that, but can always think of how do you not let them down. You're going to protect them. If you are not able to pull up somebody, it's fine. You're a leader, you're not able to take them up, but at least let them not fall. That's the basic important kind of thing to go and which works across, support them to go across and move, and that's a kind of leadership which they're looking in. So empower people, the leadership go and inspire people, lead the change, and have a shared vision among the people. So understand and identify the leadership which goes in, because it's a personal leadership, also a corporate leadership. That's the mantra of your success. Because when you're trying to talk about having the leadership, it could be a personal leadership or a professional or corporate leadership. They are essential for your success to go in. The leadership style, what do you do, and is the mantra for success of yours to go in. They are all we are moving towards, from being mechanical way of being human. So leadership, we should see that we are going to be human rather than mechanical kind of thing, to go and have the human part of your life as a leader to go in and move across. Now let us take some examples and see how it goes. And I hope I'm making some sense. I want at least 5 people to talk now. Ones who are not spoken before would be encouraged. Others can also talk if they don't talk.
Yes, sir. The flow is good, sir. We are understanding.
Yeah. We'll start with any one of you.
Hello. Hello, sir.
Why is that none of you are talking? Are you given instructions not to talk in a class?
Hello. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
You are a class leader, right? When you are a teacher, you are a leader of the class. Yeah. Anyone? No one? So, it talks about it to go on. Right. It is not allowing. So at the end, will not be able to, do this kind of thing which actually goes on, would be the kind of leadership which goes in Mother Teresa. You'll not be judged, muted by organizers. I don't know. I didn't do that muting, because I can understand. Yeah. So you can put it in chat box. In that case, you can put it in chat box, madam. So when you talk about to go and this works and Mohan, oh, what a leader it was. Okay. Change will not come if we wait for that some other person or some other time. We are the ones who have been waiting for. We are the change we seek. Obama wonderfully said. There can, if there is one thing we can do, even one life we can save, we have an obligation to try. That's the leader in him which actually did it and moved on. Now treat people as if they were, ought to be, and you will help them become what they're capable of becoming. So you're trying to talk about treating the people in the way you want them to be there, and you're going to have that to go in. Okay. So then you have the kind of going to be the bad stuff there, but there's one thing, amazing thing: light 3M's darkness. Every time you can stick a candle into the dark, but you can't stick darkness to the light. So make it a point, you can always create light wherever you are and whatever you go. And one more great leader, but today world takes him as a leader. No, we are not talking about no controversies here. So I'm audible.
Yes, sir. You
Yeah,
are audible, sir.
Madam Kalyani, madam, you are on mute, huh?
You are audible,
Yeah.
sir.
So when you are looking into that to go and so when you're trying to talk about the kind of thing to go on, you know, you are basically trying to talk about having the kind of thing. Once we decide we have to do something, you can go miles ahead. In order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. That's very vital, because you feed the success to go and move across. One more great leader, one particular person. Today we talk about Telangana. You know, It was that leadership which brought us the Telangana and with his vision of Bangaru Telangana. Now, we'll not get into details, but I just wanted to tell him as a leader who brought the Telangana into it to go, and we do not need acts but action. We have seen him; he's a man of action. We have seen that actions. There's always plus and minus, ifs and buts, but he's a man of action who has been doing a lot of things to go and inspire, indicate, and ignite to go and Gautam Buddha. He did that particular thing. Today talk about that to go in a king and work for it to go in and very wonderful to move. Samrat Ashok, Alexander the Great, what we talked about him, Chhatrapati Shivaji, look at all that. They're all awesome and wonderful leaders who have been the source of inspiration. Netaji, we talked about him. Then Rabindranath Tagore, then Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi. She was a very powerful leader, irrespective of anything to go on. Indira Gandhi, one thing to go on. Dr. C.V. Raman and Sri Vishwesvaraya. Recently, we celebrated Engineers Day, Mokshaganda Vishwesvaraya's birthday. So we're not trying to talk about that to go, and we had someone who is going to be a part of this. Because we are talking that they're great leaders of science to go and leaders of the corporate world, Azim Premji, Narayan Murthy, Sabir Bhatia, the Sunil Mittal, they are the ones who have done that. My God, G.R.D. Tata, the great grand kind of thing to go. And Akhil, don't be worried about attendance. I'm sure they'll give you attendance. Okay, so if you are attending for attendance, I don't know how many of you are attending for attendance, but Ghanshyam Das Birla, Dhirubhai Ambani, who actually made the difference in the corporate leadership to go and are these leaders. Are they leaders? Can anybody identify some of them? They are also leaders,
yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir. They are also leaders.
They lead.
Yes, sir.
That actually goes in. So when you're looking at that kind of thing, they have this kind of thing. Or erstwhile leaders, we talk about them. One who bought us the first World Cup. Then we had all. Currently, I wanted to do some more latest pictures, and let me go to old times rather than this to go and. So P.T. Usha and all, looking at they are the leaders for us to go and. Great men. Manmohan Singh, great economist. Today when we talk about, we're not talking about his role as a PM, but his role as an FM, PV Narasimha Rao's government. Today's India's basic thing, deadly combination. They had that liberalization, privatization, and all that globalization. That is why we had seen our Indian economy go back to old times. Or look at the, Ravi Shankar ji, who talks about art of living. We are not against for or against anybody, but art of living talks about bringing that change in the minds of people. Look at the Baba Yaga, led people to yoga. Yoga has become an internationally popular, and we have a World Yoga Day also done, and people have taken it. We have Vajpayee ji, we lost him, but that particular thing which goes in, and a great man, legend, Abdul Kalam, which actually goes, they're all leaders. Now, what is this? What do you think would be there? I wish Dr. Miriala Ramesh removes the forced mute option from others. I want people to open up their mics and talk. Organizers, please.
Kalyani madam, can you hear me?
Yes,
Remove
ma'am.
that forced mute option.
I think our
so
voice is not reaching to sir. Kindly
listen to you all.
Talk with the organizers, please.
Sir, am I audible, sir? Chetan, sir, am I audible?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What would come here?
Chetan, sir.
Some problem is there. It's just
unable to hear you. I'm not able to hear you all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
No, you're not audible. Kalyani madam, you're not audible. No.
Hello. Hello, sir. Chetan, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Are you able to see me? I just waved.
No, only question mark.
Are you able to see me? So there's no problem with my connection. Your voice is not reaching me. Yes, that's true.
Now got it.
Yeah. So that's one thing which goes on. So when I try to talk about this, when you are looking into the kind of thing to go on, it is you. When I'm putting so many photos across, it should be your photo there. You are the leader. You are the one who have to happen and do. And so, but one thing I should say, whatever you are, yes, I'm doing it. Whatever you are, be a good one. Be a good one. That is very, very important. Whatever you do, whatever you do, and you have to be very good to go. And so when that particular thing is on, when you are trying to talk about this to go and be a good one, whatever leadership you are going to have. Also remember, do have individual social responsibility, do something for society as an individual, social service volunteering wherever it is possible, do it, lead by doing, create a personal brand, be safe, be healthy, be happy, and spread happiness and positivity. I asked a wise man, tell me, sir, which field I could make a great career. He said with a smile, be a good human being. There's a lot of opportunity in this area. I mean, very little competition. So possibly when you become a good human being, you become a good leader, which actually goes in and work across. Remember, all the progress what you're going to have takes place outside the comfort zone. When you're out of your comfort zone, then only progress happens. So never give up. In the journey of leadership, we have miles to go before we sleep. That actually goes in. So bring a change in yourself, खुद में सुधार ला करते रहिए. Better quality of life happens. So as a person you improve. That goes in. Don't just survive, thrive as a leader. That's very important to go and work on. So survive your toolkit. Stay home, stay safe. That's one thing we do. And tough times never last, but tough people do. So be at home, be safe. But still the COVID is on. In respect of anything, follow that. you know, in this environment, it's not about how much you're growing, how much you're doing, but in how much healthy you are. It's very vital to go and become self-reliant, Atmanirbhar. We talk about Bharat and moves into go and build towards the future, and the future holds a lot of surprises and hope that at the end of the day, all you need is the hope and the energy to, strength that, you know, we will things will get better and the strength to hold on till it gets better. I hope there'll always be a day when you fall in love being alive. So Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, thank you for being here. Any questions? I leave the floor open. Feel free to ask questions before we break, or you have my thing to go and this particular thing would actually help you out to move on. Okay. So you're all feeling hungry.
No, sir. Sir,
Hmm?
am I audible, sir?
So we'll have a question answer session combined for both the sessions, I believe. So you want to have your thing. I hope you all enjoyed the session. And in the afternoon, I want you to switch on your cameras, have a light meal, don't sleep. You have time to dress up and come on a camera. It's really, we should come on the screen. Coming onto the screen is a great opportunity. You don't know, when you're trying to talk about to go in, once you come onto the screen, we should be seen. We all want to be seen, right, on the camera. So come onto the screen and no, be camera ready. And yeah, there's some issue. Your voice is not reaching me, but I am reaching you. So at least that goes in. So possibly I'll see that somewhere. We have time, so that in the afternoon session, this particular thing goes in. Please do not be worried about attendance. Dr. Ramesh is really posting it. I know attendance because
Yes,
people are
sir.
worried about that attendance to go in. So he is a leader who is doing going by the words of the people who want expectations of the thing to go in. So make it a point. Come on time in the afternoon. So I think afternoon we're starting at 2:10, I think. Yeah, yeah. So
Thank
good
you,
day.
sir. Thank you so
So
much.
afternoon we'll come and have a wonderful photograph also, all of us. So do it a point and come dressed up well. Do not sleep. We'll have a session to go on. Good day. See you all. Should I close my
Thank you.
session? You can note down my contacts to go on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Uh, Participants, am I audible?
Okay, okay.
You are audible, madam. You can
Let's
do.
break for lunch and
Okay.
please come back at 2:10.
Okay.
Fine.
Thank you,
So
Chetan sir.
afternoon, I want everybody to switch on their cameras.
Yes.
Ramana sir,
Okay,
good to
okay,
see
sir.
you.
Fine. Done, sir. Thank you,
Good.
sir.
Afternoon we'll also listen to you. Now we are seeing you. Afternoon we listen to you all. Let me see what's the problem. My side there's no problem because before your session I had another session. I didn't have any issue. Now also I'm not having any issue. So I think there's some technical snag. So I think we should correct it before we go in because interactive session will be wonderful when we're doing. So because no next session surely demands we're going to have conflicts.
Fine.
So we're going to
Yes.
resolve this. Until you have both the sides open, we can't have a conflict. One-sided, maybe the thing to go and yeah. Chalo, take care. God bless you all.
Thank
Have a
you.
Okay,
wonderful
sir.
day.
Thank
We'll
you,
meet.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All the participants, please let's break for the lunch and please join back at 2:10. Thank you.